Majeski began to touch on it. I'm just going to give a little bit more, I shouldn't say more, just a little bit of a different perspective from some of the sikhs of the Rebbe about this Nekuda. And I'll give a small akdama. And the akdama is as follows. That Bechlau we know that Limud Achsidis is kosher with Bias HaMashiach. Not just connected to Bias HaMashiach, but Limud Achsidis is, like the Rebbe said hundreds of times, Mizar is the Geula, the Nekuda of the Geula ba'ifin shel Achishenu. Where did this start from? It started from when the Baal Shem Tov was told, a Masai ka'asi mar, l'chsheyafutzu ma'inasecha chutza. This is something we say over and over, but let's stop for a moment and ask ourselves a simple question. What's the kesher of Limud Achsidis to Mashiach? Why dafka haguf akasha? Why a Masai ka'asi mar is dependent and taloi l'chsheyafutzu ma'inasecha chutza? So you're going to say because Teirasi Shal Mashiach is Primis HaTorah, you have to have a Te'ima, but there's something deeper. Hagufa, why is Teirasi Shal Mashiach all about Chassidus and Primis HaTorah? So anytime you say a broad statement, you're always going to go wrong. So I'm making Akdam, I'm saying a broad statement. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but probably there's a certain degree of truth to it. And that is as follows. Let's discuss the attitude and approach of Yiddishkeit until Chassidus, and the attitude and approach of Yiddishkeit with Chassidus. Yidden always struggled from Sheishis and Bereshis, from Brias HaAdam, with the conflict of the Nefesh HaLekis and the Nefesh HaBahamis. The conflict and the stira that exists between the Neshama and the Guf. The question is, how do you deal with this conflict and how do you resolve the conflict? For most of the years throughout history, the Nekuda was learn how to put your guf a little bit aside and in other words, learn how to make sure that the guf is not mailim umastir alela haneshama and be megala there haneshama. So how did this translate? This translated is that we learned how to be a Yid, lamreis the kshayim that exist in Galus, notwithstanding the guf that we have, and notwithstanding the chayshach chafel and mechupel that exists around us, we demonstrated that Yiddishkeit can survive even in such a maimed umatziv. So in other words, what was Yiddishkeit focusing on? Learn how to bypass your guf and allow the neshama to thrive even within the guf in the physical world. Came Chassidus and was mechadish from 300 years ago, befrat by the Alter Rebbe. In other words, especially Chassidus Chabad, and was mechadish. Stop looking to bypass your guf. The goal isn't bittul hara. The goal isn't bir hara. The goal is Pirur hara, Pirur haguf. And the lashon that the Rebbe would say many times in the Maimarim is Pirur nefesh habahamis, gufay vechelkei ba'olam. So there's a huge nafkamina between Bittul hara and Bir hara. When it comes to Pesach, we do Bir chametz. When it comes to Yiddishkeit, Chassidus was megale that there's something even stronger than Bir chametz. And that is Birur HaChametz. In other words, for 5,500 years, the only reason why we did Bir Chametz is so that we should finally be able to do Birur HaChametz. Not to bypass the guf, to bring the guf along. Until Chassidus came along, meant shut down your Nefesh HaBahamis. Just enough so that it shouldn't be Mailam Umastir. Came Chassidus and was Megale. Don't shut down your Nefesh HaBahamis. Turn it on. The Nefesh HaBahamis is part of Mashiach. Now here's the Nekuda why Chassidus is connected with Mashiach. We know that a person Chas v'shalom, if he's not zoiche to be as a Mashiach, so after a person finishes his life, Yemei Shnei Sein B'em Shivim Shana, he tells his guf, Afar Ata Velafar Tashuv, and let the neshama go enjoy itself and allow itself to express itself the way it is in Gan Eden. That's Biur Chametz. Biur Chametz, it finally released itself from the Gzeiras HaGuf. Yemais HaMashiach, Yemais HaMashiach is not about telling the guf, Afar Ata Velafar Tashuv. Yemais HaMashiach is not about telling the guf, I learned how to bypass you. Yemais HaMashiach is Neshamis Big Gufim. Yemais HaMashiach is where we learn how the guf is not a stira telikus, Achtos Hashem. In order for us to come to a level of Yemais HaMashiach, you need to have Chassidus, which is Mevarer, Birur HaGuf, not Birur HaGuf. Now, this is also connected with, you find the famous Lashon, the Baal Shem Tov said, Kisira Chamer Seinacha, Oziv Tazivimai, don't break him, don't wish him that he should be destroyed, Fakert, Oziv Tazivimai. And the Rebbe connected that the Oziv Tazivimai is connected with Mashiach, which is Roichev Ala Chamer. Roichev Ala Chamer means when we take the Chamer and we bring about the mile of the Chamer, so they're not just, it's not a stira, but it's Roichev Ala Chamer. Geula is all about taking the Chumriyas Ha'olam and bringing it with us. So there's these two nekudas. Now the nafkamina between these two nekudas is much bigger than just a drasha. You could even say it's about it defines what Mashiach is. The gather of Mashiach, it also is a major nafkamina lahalacha. How do you prepare for Mashiach? If you look in halacha, in the Hilchis of Tzedakah, you have a din called Chesed Leumim Chatos. It's usher to take tzedakah from a goy. So there's a machlekes hapoiskim. Some poiskim say the nekuda is you're not allowed to take tzedakah from a goy, dafke for Inyan Shokdusha, because sepasnisht. It doesn't belong in Inyan Shokdusha. While many poiskim explain that the reason why you're not allowed to take tzedakah from a goy is because the ultimate of galus is to starve the goy out of his chusim. Now let's think of Deir Hashvi, the Rebbe, which is the Messiah of everything Chassidus came to be. When the Rebbe was interviewed by CNN, and he was asked, what is his message? Acts of goodness and kindness. Why would you want a guy to do acts of goodness and kindness after you learn V'chesed Leumim Chatos, it's about starving the guy out of his chusim? So the answer is, which Mashiach are you working for? If you're working for a Mashiach of Be'ita, which is about Biur Chametz, Biur Hara, so then you didn't need all Chassidus, Chesed Leumim Chatos, make sure the guy never does a righteous thing in his life, so that there will be one big Biur Chametz. Came Chassidus and was Mechadish, and this is in all the Maimarim, especially of Chag HaSukkos, that it's not about Biur Chametz, it's about Birur Chametz. We're not looking to be Bimvar the Goyim. We're looking to elevate them. They have a chelik in the Geula. We're looking to bring our guf to the Geula. I say that, we could be ma'arich about this, but I say this as an introduction to why it's significant. The event that happened when it was Yud Tes Kislev in Eretz Yisrael, which again Rabbi Majeski started the conversation. I'm just going to add a little bit. If Mashiach was about a era of Gan Eden in Olam Hazeh, so then we wouldn't need, it would be in Gansin insignificant what a guy thinks about Yerushalayim and what a guy doesn't think about Yerushalayim. It's not negate to anybody. It would be a Isser to even mention it by Chassidische Farbrengen, Barabim in 770. But because Mashiach is not about Bir Chametz, it's about Birur Chametz, it's about the Guf, therefore it's Negeya, part of Yemais HaMashiach, what the Umas HaOlam are contributing towards this step. Now I'll give one more Akdama. The Rebbe in the Sichis, many times when he spoke about Shleimus Haaretz, I'll just quote one quote. The Rebbe said, Ayidar Visin, Adavar Barer. As Eretz Yisrael gehört zu Yidin, nicht der Farvas Hagoy, in a Landin hat gechasst mit auf a Papirum, mit a so viel Jahren zurück. Nor der Fahrer, was der Eberstadt das abgegeben zu Avraham Avinu in Bris bin Absarim. Und in der Eufen von Achusa Soilom, und sie ist mehr nicht, was wir prägen, Chateinu, Galinu, Merzayinu. And we don't need anybody to give us back Yerushalayim. We don't need anybody to give us Eretz Yisrael. It's in ganzen not shaykh. So what's the Nekuda? There's a little water. The Nekuda B'Kitzer, I'll mention a sikha that the Rebbe said in Tav Shalom and Hey Simchas Torah. The Rebbe spoke about the pasuk Ki Mitziin Teitzei Soira Udvar Hashem Yerushalayim. And the Rebbe said that what's the difference between Eretz Yerushalayim, the way it's called Tzion, and Torah, and Dvar Hashem Yerushalayim. And again, Nar B'Kitzer, because of the hour of the night. The Nekuda is as follows. We know all over Chassidus, we learn about there's Asaras Hakaf, there's the Asaras Hadibris and Asaras Mamaris. There's the Eibishter, the way it is Hecher von Sheiches von Welt, and there's the Eibishter, the way it was Nislabish in Welt. Asaras Mamaris is a Metzias of Welt, which is Mailam Umaster, and in the Welt, which is Mailam Umaster, is also Achtos Hashem. So the Rebbe said this is the Nekuda. Mitzia in Teitzi Soira is the Nekuda where Eretz Yisrael, even Yerushalayim, it's not about a place. We don't even call it by a name. We call it Tzion. And mitzad the inyan of the neshama, mitzad Torah, mitzad the neshama of a Yid, it's not even a physical place. It's only that this place is significant because the Eibishter made it a Tzion, a sign that this place is a place that he chose to be miyachid k'tushasei. However, the Rebbe said, and this is the part that's negeya to us, Udvar Hashem Yerushalayim. Dvar Hashem is referring to Welt. Bidvar Havaya Shamayim Nasu. The world that the Eibishter created with all the Shivin Umis. Dvar Hashem Yerushalayim. That Yerushalayim is the Nekuda of Elikus, not the way it is despite the world, but the way it is mitzad the world. The way it influences the Dvar Hashem Shamayim Nasu. Now, to add one more Nekuda, in Tav Shalom and Ches, the Rebbe said that if we care about getting Yerushalayim, what's the way to do it? It's not about reading the news. It's not about watching Donald Trump. It's not about making lobbies to influence the president. There's one Nekuda. There's one Nekuda. The Nekuda is when we're learning in Torah. Bechlal Tzion b'mishpat ipada. Yerushalayim is nifte b'mishpat. And the mishpat is Torah. Limud ha-Torah vayid is what's bringing about Pidiyas Yerushalayim. And specifically the Rebbe said, the inyanim of Torah that are connected to Yerushalayim. Limud beis abchira. But now let's go, after we made this hakdama clear, that it has nothing to do with the guy in Washington. And it has nothing to do with the declaration. And seeing b'mishpat ipada is with Torah. Now let's take one closer look. What we can never know what the Rebbe is saying about this Nekuda. But what do we see in the Rebbe's Sichis about the Nekuda of Yerushalayim, Ir Habira? So the first thing is that if you look all over throughout the years, the Rebbe always referred to Yerushalayim with the name Ir Habira. And the Rebbe quoted two psukim very often. One pasuk from Yeshaya, where it says, Kiryas Chana David. Yerushalayim was the place where David established as the capital, where David rested. And the other pasuk, which Rebbe quoted in a certain way even more often, is the pasuk from Tehillim. Kiryas Melech Rav. Yerushalayim is the capital of Yidden. Yerushalayim is the capital of Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kiryas Melech Rav. And all the time in many Maimarim, you'll find the Rebbe referencing Yerushalayim Ir Habira. You'll find the Rebbe referencing it in Maimarim, in Sichis, and even many times people that came to dollars, when they would mention Yerushalayim, the Rebbe would remind Yerushalayim Ir Habira. But now let's go a little bit further. The Rebbe in Tav Shalom Tes, for those that know a little bit of history, in Tav Shalom Tes, there was a lot of talk over Tav Shalom Tes and Tav Shemem. There was a lot of talk over Yerushalayim, yes, giving it back, not giving it back. The nations were demanding it. And the Rebbe spoke in a Farbrengen in Tav Shalamites and many other Farbrengens. But the Rebbe spoke as follows, Starkered, that Dafke, when Yidden speak with a Toikef, and they make it clear that there's nothing to talk about giving back Yerushalayim. I'm just going to read one paragraph. Es ist gewähnt a Inyen, was mit dem Meure gehad, bringen all das Wasser. Danach hat man aber gesehen, als Beschaß man hat gesagt, bepashtus und betkifes. In a Signin, als einmal dabei beseh, als Yerushalayim bleibt bei Yidden. Und das bleibt a Ir Habira und bleibt Yerushalayim Hashleima. So this itself hat man das herabgenommen für Seder Hayoim. When a Yid is declaring with a tkifus that Yerushalayim is Ir Habira and Ir Hashleima, that makes that the Goyim stop talking about that it's not up for a negotiation. Going a little bit further, in Tav Shemem is when Eretz Yisrael established Yerushalayim as its capital. In other words, from whatever perspective, whatever you want to call it. So the Rebbe in Tav Shemem Aleph was campaigning for the Sefer Torah of Achdus Yisrael. And the Rebbe wanted that the Sefer Torah should be written and completed Dafke in Yerushalayim. And in the Sichis you find very starke Werter about the Nekuda of Yerushalayim. I'll just say two quotes. Quote number 1 says the Rebbe, und das ist Achdus von Yidden bechol olam kuloi, warum Yerushalayim ist Habura shel olam. Und sie ist Kiryas Melech Rav, der Ir Habira von Eretz Yisrael und von Kol Ha'olam kuloi. Bedugma wie Areish lechol Ha'olam, was azoi wie Reish Adam vierta mit alle Ivarim, und euch, wenn die Ivarim gefinden sich beim Kaimam, bekommen sie euch Chais von Reish, ki mevur in Hateres Reish, azoi is euch benegehen zu Yerushalayim legabi Kol Ha'olam kuloi. So not just is Yerushalayim the Ir Habira of Eretz Yisrael, Yerushalayim is the Ir Habira of Kol Ha'olam kuloi. In another Sikha later on in Tav Shemem Aleph, the Rebbe said as follows: even though a Yid will taina that Kol Bayis Yehudi hu Ir Habira shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, every Yiddish house, a Beis Chabad, every Yiddish house is a capital of Yiddishkeit, says the Rebbe, harei ze rak boifen prati. But in addition to the way Yerushalayim exists in the Ir Habira, in every person's house, Yeshna Ir Habira da HaKadosh Baruch Hu hashayeches u'machedes es Klolus Yisrael. Even in the time of Golus, when we're mefuzor and mefeired bein ha'amim, when Yerushalayim is by Yidden, and Yidden are demonstrating Torah over there, or befrat writing a Sefer Torah, shezeu Yerushalayim ir HaKodesh Kiryas Melech. So this is, you see over and over, this is just a small example. You can give hundreds, Beli Guzma, of examples how chashuv it was by the Rebbe, the Inyan of Yerushalayim Ir Habira. And I'll conclude with one nekuda, that unfortunately and almost predictable, it was announced that besides for demonstrations, there was a nekuda that was announced that in tomorrow in the UN, there's going to be a conversation, a demonstration, and they're going to claim it's not legal, and to put pressure on America to reverse the decision. So I just want to mention a Zoyar. The Zoyar in Parshas Beshalach, on the pasuk Uvireiv Ga'oincha Taris Kamecha, says the Zoyar, the first pasuk of the Zoyar brings out that why is it shaykh that Yidden should experience Taris Kamecha, that a person is able to stand up against a Yid, is because Yidden mipnei chata'enu, we cause that the Eibishter distance himself. Comes Reb Yitzchak, and Reb Yitzchak argues. And Reb Yitzchak says the pasuk of Rev Goincha Taris Kamecha is not talking about Golus. It's talking about the end of Golus. Reb Yitzchak Amar, Hai Kra B'Shaita, the Islabish Kutchabrichu, Geiusa al Amemayo. The Iskanshana later is going to be the Umas Ha'olam that come together to go against Yerushalayim. And listen closely, Gevaldik Verter. The Umas Ha'olam come together, and what is their taina? Their taina is Al Havaya V'Al Meshichai. But the Zohar clarifies, the Umas Ha'olam don't want to come together openly Al Havaya V'Al Meshichai. Instead, Vitana, Zaminun Inin Shivin Kastoirim Mikol Amin. There's going to be the 70 nations that are going to gather together, Bahu Zimna Yenetzait, Beuchlusin de Kol Alma, in a place that belongs to the Shivim Umes. Ulemevat Krava Yerushalayim Karta Kadisha. And they're going to make a war and an argument against Yerushalayim Karta Kadisha. And what is going to be their tactic? Ulachada eitin alei de kutshabrichu. The Zohar is describing that in Beis Shalmaila, in Lamaila, the Shivim Umis are afraid that the Eibishter is about to bring Mashiach. So when he sees that it starts with Yerushalayim, the Umis Ha'olam listen to the word. Umay Amri, the Umis Ha'olam say to themselves, Noikim al Pitroina b'Kadmisa. First, we're going to argue on the legality. We're not going to talk against Neged Havai and Neged Mashiach. We're going to argue on the legality. It's not right that you're giving Yerushalayim Tayyid. And after we win the legality, Chas v'Shalom, ulebasar al Ameh, afterwards we'll speak openly against the Yidin, v'alei chalei, and against Beis Hamikdash. Says the Zohar, Kedin Zamin Kutshabrichu Lechaychon Alayu. The Eibishter in that time is going to laugh at them. The Chsiv Yosheb Hashemayim Yitzchak Avaya Yilag La'amoy. La'amoy and La'amoy. Bahu Zimna Yilbash Kutshabrichu Geyus Alayu. This is the Taichu V'roiv Ga'oircha. The Eibishter gathers the Shtotz. V'yisheitzunun min Alma. And is going to save the Yidin from all the nations. K'ma dechsiv v'zois tia magifa asher yigav havaya es kol ha'amim asher tzavu al Yerushalayim himag b'soroi v'huoi medaragloi. And the Zohar continues to explain that these 70 nations that will exist in Achris Hayamim is Gilgulim of the very same people that caused all the tzaris to Yidin throughout history. But Elamai says the Eibishter as follows. There's one type of nekama that the Eibishter took behind closed curtains. And that was when they finished their lifetime. But the Eibishter wants to make a nekama. And the Zohar enumerates all the people, Sachrane Yerushalayim, which is all the ones that got up against Sancheriv, Nebuchadnezzar, Ladrianis, Ulifinus. And the Eibishter puts them back in a Gilgul and a Guf, so that the Eibishter can make a nekama of them, neshama beguf, and that's what the Zohar continues. The Rebbe didn't mention the Zohar to my understanding, but the Rebbe in Parshas Bereishis Tavshin Aleph, which is a sicha, which is today to read, the Rebbe speaks about Dafka nations which were usually standing by humanitarian needs. All these nations come together, says the Rebbe, we should know. This is Misimoni Agula, and it's part of Tikkun V'Shleimus Ha'olam. And the Rebbe mentioned this nekuda of Rakshu Goyim U'Le'umim Yegu. But the Eibishter will show us Yosheb Hashemayim Yizchak Yilag Lamoy, that all of the tamulas that they will make with the 70 nations will be Lahav of Larik. So Yehi Ratzin that we should be Zoicha. The same way we were Zoicha that this announcement happened on Yud Tes Kislev, Yerushalayim, we should be Zoicha that throughout all the years the Yidden were Mekayim, B'meshech Alfish Nois HaGolus, Tefillah B'tzibur, Limanat Torah, Gemilas Chasadim. And the Eibishter is Maftiach, Kol Ha'isik B'Torah, U'B'Gemilas Chasadim, U'Mispalo Limat Tzibur, is going to be Poide B'Shalom, P'da'ani, Li, V'Livni, Mibein Ha'umis, Kein Tiyalanu B'Mheira V'Yameinu Amen. But the most important thing that we need to know is the Eibishter has his business, what he needs to do. What do we need to do al Yidin? So the Rebbe in Yud Tes Kislev Tavshin Yudalid, the Rebbe spoke about the importance that the general of an army doesn't come to line up first. Rather, all the soldiers are lining up. And when they're screaming out that we're ready, we're imdu hachin kuchem, lekapa pnei Mashiach tzidkenu, at that moment is when the general, when the Melech Malchi Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu is coming, and is Megale v'hoya Hashem lemelech HaKol Haaretz, v'yema u'yi Hashem echad u'shmei echad, kein tiyelanu b'karev mamish, u'ba'ofen shoptiya b'shalom. L'chaim.